Okay, so where we left off last video was we were able to open up a modal window with a date picker, and it happens to be July 4th today. So July 4th would actually show up in the date picker. So what we wanted to do was to be able to select a different date on a date picker manually. So for instance, July 12th, 2016, we would like to be able to click OK and have this value, this date value, be passed back to the parent window, and then update this button text. As you can see, it's still the July 4th. It didn't update it to the July 12th value that I selected in the previous screen. So we're going to go ahead and do that. We're going to do that using something called delegates. Delegate is a way of allowing one window, for example, this window, to be able to call a method from another window or another class. In this case, it would be this window, this view controller. We want to be able to call a method into this window or view controller to set a date. So what we'll do is we'll start off with the date picker view controller. And this is date picker view controller. What we'll do is we'll create a protocol for this delegate. And the protocol is just simply declares the method that the delegate needs to support. So in this case, we'll call this protocol set date delegate. And the method we want it to support is called set date. And we'll pass in an end-of-state value. And we'll call it selected date because this would be the value of the date that we selected in the date picker. Okay, so that's the protocol. Protocol to end, and this is the one method that we want the delegate to support. And also, we're going to need a another property here, property, and this property would be pointer to the delegate itself. Sign, and the syntax is ID for bracket. The protocol that we just created above, and variable name. We'll call it delegate. Call it anything you want, but the convention is to call it delegate. So, how is this used? It'll be used in this window, but I'll get to that in a second. Let me finish off some coding in the date picker window. So we have the protocol defined, and what we previously had was some code in the OK clicked method, which gets called when you click the OK button. The only logic we had in there was to dismiss the existing view controller. So before we dismiss the view controller, we want to be able to set the date in the previous screen's button. So I'm going to go ahead and use the delegate now. Self delegate set date. So if you remember, set date is the method that we just defined. And we want to pass along the date from the date picker. Okay. All right. So now what this is doing is it's calling the delegate or the other class or other view controller, and then we will execute the implementation of set date in the other class. So let's define that set date method in the previous screen. In this case, it's called the second screen. Second screen view controller. So let's go to the header file and tell the interface that we will be supporting this set date delegate that we just created. And let's go into the M file. We'll go ahead and define that. Define the this new set date method. Set date colon. Let's do this. Let's go ahead and take advantage of that. Auto select. Okay, so what do we want it to do? We want it to set the working date to the selected date that was passed into this method. Okay, so once we have the date, we want to format that date similar to how we did it in the view did load, and then set the text of the button to that date in that format. So I'm just going to copy and paste this from view did load. It should work exactly the same. So as a formatter, we can set the formatter to this date format as defined in this text here, and we'll update the pick date button's title. So that is the set date method that that will be called from the set date picker view controller. And before we do that, we're going to have to make some changes to the prepare for segue, because prepare for segue, here's our opportunity to set the delegate in the date picker view controller. If you remember the prepare for segue, you would actually grab the date picker view controller from the segue destination view controller. So now we have access to the date picker view controller. So with that, you can just say delegate equals self. That means that this view controller, this class, will be the delegate for the date picker view controller. So let's try running this. Next, all right, so now it's July 4th. I'll click on this. It should open up my date picker view controller. I'll go ahead and change the date here. I'll select July 7th, 2017. So once we click OK, we should call the delegates set date method, and we should update the date text on the button. And there you go, July 7th. And if we select another date, September 9th, 2018, should update it to September 9th, 2018. There we go.